my bank, and my bank always bust. Yeah, my bank will bust, and you mad for what? Probably cause you ain't get stuffed. Hush K, they hate what I make, but they fake, so I look the other way.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to the Tending Bike Show. And I'm here once again with a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? It's young Seagull,
Young Seagull,
the legend.
the General.
Yep, indeed, the general.
All right, so yeah, we're here with Young Seagull today, and we're about to do this interview. So, first thing I want to ask is I want to ask about the origins of Young Seagull.
Ah, that's a long story.
Well, you can just get into let's just get into let- let's um, let's just the music. Let's do that. Let's like the
Uh,
music history of Young Seagull. We'll do that.
well, when I was in high school, I started playing drums, and I played drums in a couple rock bands for a while, and I played in a worship group in church. I played for church for a while. And so I was really only doing that kind of music for a long time. And then I didn't get started doing rap until mm, probably about 20, it would have been 2014. I think 2014. One of my roommates saw that I had a MacBook, and he's like, "Hey, let me use GarageBand and make a track." And I had never used it before. I'm like, all right, go ahead. And so I'm watching him make this. I'm like, you know what? Hey, let me hop on that. So he let me hop on it, and that was my first feature, I guess. That was before the Seagull name, of course.
Yeah. Well,
But I did that.
is it true that you actually had a song like all the way back in like 2001? I think I might remember
That
something about that.
oh yeah, that is true. Um, I don't know why I did that. Uh, I think I made 3 rap songs back then. I had my dad produce them. Um, and I mean they were awful. But I don't know. It just seemed like something to do. And I remember I made them, and then I put them on tapes and gave them to my friends, like
Nice.
cassette
Okay.
tapes,
the,
the
the
relics.
cassette days. That's a Wild West project, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, cassette.
Cassette remix.
Yes, the cassette biker gang remix. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think
that's a classic.
I don't think the public will ever hear it. I don't know. Maybe they will. It's up to
I've
you, I
seen it.
guess.
It got leaked.
It's
It's
already
on
got
Flex
leaked.
Leaks. Yeah,
That makes
it's
sense.
on the it's on Flex Leaks SoundCloud.
So what was how did you get the name Young Seagull?
All the names that I wanted were taken. Was kind of how I ended up there. I had like 3 or 4 that I wanted, and I would search Spotify, SoundCloud, and make sure nobody else had the name, and all of them were taken. I'm like, shoot. And then I don't know. I kept going down the list, and I remember polling my friends, and I don't remember anybody even liking Young Seagull. I don't know how I ended up with it, why that was the one I went with, but it was a name nobody else had, and it was simple. At the time, there has since been another young seagull. I think it's from Brazil.
Brazil.
Um, yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't know what happened there, but there is another one now. But at the time, I was the only one,
Mm.
and I mean, it seemed simple, and I mean, I liked it. And at this point, I can't change it. That's too iconic.
Yeah. So next we got and this is still a pre-flex. What was your first project? I guess under this name.
So the first project under the Young Seagull name would have been my first album, Catharsis and Other Ghost Stories,
Ah, that one.
which is an Icy Records project, uh, I
Yes.
guess technically. Although my understanding is that Flex acquired the rights to it when I signed to Flex, whatever that means. Um, but that was the first album I ever made. I had made a bunch of EPs prior to the Seagull name, but that was the first Young Seagull project, and it was the weird thing about it is it was almost done by the time I like discovered Flex or like the whole do it yourself amateur music and rap community at all.
Yeah.
So it's made with like almost no influence at all from just sound. There's no features on it.
Yeah. So, how exactly did you find Flex?
Through Hip Hop HQ, as many have
Yeah,
done.
me too.
I was watching the whatever 100 worst songs of 2020 or 2021, whichever one it was, and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, the first one I saw was the 2018 one. They had Mosquito, Submarine Man, Meerkat, like all the early stuff, Flexer, all of them.
Yeah, maybe it meant earlier. Now that I think it probably was 2018 or 2019.
I'd guess
But yeah,
2019 since you joined in 2020.
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So I saw that, and then I looked into it, and I saw that all these artists I was seeing were like under the same label. And so then I discovered the Brad infection reaction
Yeah,
because I was not a Brad watcher. Um, I think I had heard of him before. Like he had popped up when I was searching for stuff, but like I
yeah,
wasn't a subscriber. He wasn't something I normally watch.
yeah,
But I love that video too.
yeah. Like the
Like you could
two,
see,
yeah,
you
like
could see how much joy that album brought him.
yeah, like the two things that like I think most people find Flex from is Hip Hop HQ or Brad. Mostly Brad is from the people I've interviewed, I'd say.
Yeah,
Unless it's
yeah.
like unless it's like one of the founders like Mosquito.
Yeah, and then I discovered like the Flex Wiki and the Flex website, and I sent an email through the Flex website. That was like my original contact.
Yeah. So what was the process like of making the first album?
It was long. There's like three 3 years worth of songs on that album.
3 years.
Uh, yeah, because I kind of had the idea in my head I was only gonna do one album. Uh, so I kind of wanted to put everything that I had on it, and I was busy at the time, and I changed laptops a couple times. Like there's songs on there that were made on entirely different equipment than other ones, and that's kind of how it ended up with like the bookending instrumentals. Like Entropy Trust Fund, the closer, was supposed to be a rap song, but then I made the beat and I realized I couldn't flow on it right. I wasn't the right rapper for the beat, so I just threw it on there as an instrumental. I like didn't want anything to go to waste. I was like, well, I'm just gonna put every idea I got onto this.
Mm.
So I did that, and uh, there was a weird switch that flipped at some point when I was making it because I've since privated all my old EPs prior to Seagull um, for many reasons, but back then there was like no trap influence in my sound at all. And then I remember making this album, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start throwing in gun bars
Gun bars, yeah.
and trapping bars, which I had never done before. and and it like opened up a whole new realm of possibility for me.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's odd. I don't really. I kind of stopped those after that albums, like on my own work. I'll just still do it on features and stuff,
Yeah.
but I try to move away from that stuff. Uh, Seems like a one album thing, but it's strange to go back and listen to it. It's like, damn, I shot a lot of people in the head on my first record.
So then we get to the next year of 2021. I think you had a few appearances on Flex Volume 3, I think.
Yeah, three, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, Captain Out of Tune, three. Magic was CRZ and
Cheddar.
Cheddar.
Yeah.
It was still Stuart Little.
Shout out Stewart.
Well, yeah, and that's crazy. I think because I submitted my own song, Russian Woodpecker.
Oh, Russian
I
Woodpecker.
submitted for three,
Yes.
and then I think me and Wild West had submitted a song too.
Ketaset. It had to be Ketaset. The remix.
Yeah,
Ketaset remix.
yeah, yeah. The Wild remix.
The Wild remix.
Yeah, so yeah, I was involved in that a lot, and those listening back, man, Captain Out of Tune and Cheddar. I'm pretty proud of those verses.
Very
Oh,
good
and
verses,
Magic,
yeah. Yeah, Magic was
and
good too.
Magic. Um, yeah, Cheddar. Like Stuart Little sent me a message like the day before the submission deadline came, and I wrote and recorded that verse in like an hour, something like that. I was really crunched for time, and I think I did. I think that's the very first take, and only take I ever did that appears on the song,
Hmm.
which is why I run out of breath halfway through it,
Interesting.
and you can clearly hear it. But
So
there
then we
was just no
get
time.
yeah. So then we get into the second album, Russell. So what was the prospect behind that album?
So Russell, I was in Flex, heavily by the time Russell came out. So there's a much heavier Flex influence on the Russell sound, and I wanted to do. Well, it didn't matter what I wanted to do because I didn't do what I wanted to do. It kind of came out halfway between what I wanted to do and what I thought Flex wanted me to do, which is the main thing I don't like about it now. Is it's not all that I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Um, and at the time, I was working in addiction treatment, and like I had state certifications and stuff, and like I knew there's some stuff and some topics I just couldn't talk about. I'm a professional, or was a professional, so I get my shit pulled if I start going too wild. So there was a little bit of um, I couldn't was careful with a little bit with what I said. Um,
Where does the
but
name of
it's
that album come from? Actually, I want to ask that as well.
oh,
Like
we
who
had a
who is Russell?
I had a gym teacher a couple times actually growing up. I had him in elementary school, and then I had him in middle school later on. And he's a gym teacher, so he came to work in sweatpants and like sweatshirts. Of course, that's normal. So, but he would always wear Russell Athletic, the brand.
Ah,
And
uh,
being middle school, the
it
kids
kind of
just
makes
started
sense with
calling
the
him Russell.
kind of makes sense with the cover art too.
Yeah, the kids just started calling him Russell. And, it was funny. And it's still funny now, actually. I'm not gonna lie. So we just started calling him Russell, and then it's one of those memories that I'll just think about sometimes. And at first, I just said it in like the Flex chat for no
Just-
reason. Well, I
just
do that a lot. I just say
Russell.
something.
Yeah.
Russell, yeah. And then like I just kept saying it. It just became one of those things I said, Russell. And I'm like, you know what? Let me name my album Russell. It's like I've been doing promo this whole time for it.
for like the last 2 months. You've been promoting Russell.
Yeah, and it was short, and I wanted a short, punchier name than my first album had.
Yeah.
So that's how we got the name Russell.
Nice. So then we get into also later in the year 2021, we get your third album. What was it called again?
Render Pest.
Render Pest, yeah.
Yeah, the ambient album, and that's the one I'm really proud of. For the most part, it came out how I wanted it to. There's little mixing things I don't like, but I, for my knowledge and the time I had and the equipment I had, yeah, that's about as good as something I could think I could have made.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I'm trying to think how I got started on it. I mean, I always liked listening to ambient music, and my first album had an ambient song on it, and I think originally what came from was Russell was gonna have an ambient song on it too, and I ended up cutting that, which is last. Well, I'm forgetting the names of my own songs. Last Breath Outside Del Taco is, I
Ah.
think, originally going to be on Russell, and then I didn't use it, so I'm like, how am I going to do with this? I'm like, well, you know what? Let me make a couple more. So I think I had made Weather Channel Apocalypse next, which is my favorite song that I have ever made. And I was like, I mean, I don't know, this is kind of good. Like this sounds like what I had imagined in my mind, which most of my stuff doesn't. Uh, there's a gap between, I think, my imagination and my talent that I don't seem to be able to bridge. But this sounded like, what I wanted to, and it sounded like something that nobody else was really doing. It sounded like music that really came from me,
Yeah.
what I was interested in. So, and of course, I didn't have to do any vocals for it. So it was nice. I could work on it at any time. I didn't have to wait for my roommates to leave or, tell them, hey, I'm going to be recording for an hour.
Mhm.
So get ready to hear me say the same couple lines over and over.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you had a Volume 4 song, I think, like the year after, I believe.
and then, yeah, Paul Film was the Volume 4 song, uh,
Yeah.
which was, I think that I was going to develop for this new album, my new album, Saab Dealership. It'll be coming out this year.
Oh,
And
so
Paul
so
Film,
so that's what we can expect this year, or like just the next thing for Young Seagull.
yeah, yep, that's coming up. And Paul Film was the first song I started working on from that album. Paul Film's not on the album. I ended up keeping it off, but that was the first song I worked on. And yeah, ended up in Volume 4, which was nice. After Russian Woodpecker didn't get on 3, uh, it was nice to see some representation, and that's my favorite rap song that I ever made.
Nice.
Uh, and it was not didn't do well at the time, but it has since. It's now my most streamed song, and it kind of caught like a second wind, which I'm happy about that.
All right. So I'm gonna get into some other stuff. So
All right.
if I recall correctly, if I'm right, you are the currently the oldest member in Flex Entertainment.
As far as I know, I am. Yeah, 32. I
32.
think everybody knows, and I get made fun of a lot. Which is, I mean, that's all well and good. I mean, shit, I roast on myself all the time. That's good. I mean, it brings a lot of like actual negativity too. Some people have been real nasty about that. Um, it's almost led me to leave several times. But
Just because of your age.
yeah, and I mean it's unusual. I know that. Um, I will say, if I had known that the community was like as young as it was when I first joined, I probably wouldn't have joined in the first place.
Yeah, we got
I didn't.
As of
I just
recently, we've
didn't realize.
yeah, as of recently we got some more older members, and
Yeah,
and also to be fair, all the other some of the OG members, they're getting older too. To be fair.
yeah, and it's like there's like Flex is the only place you can. Well, as far as I know, it's the only place you can find this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like, where else am I gonna go and talk about this kind of music and make this kind of music?
yeah.
Uh,
I've seen all these people grow over like the past 4 years, 5 years now. Actually, it's crazy to think it's been that long since I've been in here.
Yeah, like most of my friends in real life or whatever in person, probably a better way to say it. Flex is real life too, but in person, most of my friends are even a little older than me, and I can't convince them to listen to Flex music or
Yeah,
care about any of this. there's no there's no community for people that still want to make this kind of music at my age.
yeah. What do you think of bison burgers?
Oh man, they're delicious. Excuse me. I've always been a big fan of bison.
Actually,
It's a good meat.
I don't think I actually have had bison, but I've wanted to try it for a while.
It's very good. I mean, it's similar to beef. It's not like a super unique meat, but uh,
I like
it's like a
because I love steak. That's like my favorite food.
oh yeah, man, bison's good. At least around here, they like you can get it at Walmart, um, and Costco has it.
I don't know
Uh,
if they have it like anywhere else. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't look enough, but it'd be interesting to try bison. I'm down for that for
yeah, I
sure.
used to get it quite a lot. I think the price has gone up some, but I don't know. I mean, the price of beef is going up so high.
Yeah,
I don't know if bison's that more expensive anymore.
yeah. All right, so apparently you're also known for being a pioneer of a style of rap known as chemical rap.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds like something Little Squeaky came up with.
Yeah, probably.
uh, but yeah, I mean that's part of the thing. I don't really know anybody else rapping about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, I like, I still like talking about drugs and chemicals and chemistry. Like I don't have any formal education on, uh, or just very little, I guess, um, on any of those topics. But I
yeah,
mean, it's just something interesting I like to rap about, and it's because it's something I'm interested in. It's fun to rap about, and it's fun to learn about too. Um,
yeah,
Makes coming up with lyrics easy,
yeah.
and it gives me a unique style. But it wasn't my intention. I didn't come out the gate saying, "All right, I'm gonna do some chemical rap."
Chemical rap.
It just kind of it ended up being just because that's the kind of stuff I gravitated towards. I just ended up having all these song names and these lyrics that to me it felt like normal stuff, but
Yeah.
everybody else is like, well, what's up with this is a new this is a new style.
And lastly, I want to congratulate you because I believe, as of January 1st, and I guess also just as of today in general, you've been, I think, 8 years sober, 9, 8, 9.
Something like that. It is a little more complicated than that. Um, it's an odd place to say something like this, but I struggled with mental health significantly more than usual last year, and I went on benzos for like 6 months, um, which it's a complicated thing. There's a lot of people that would say, "Oh, that's not clean," so I don't claim it like I used to.
Hmm.
I don't say, but I had
Is it no?
seven like
Your
seven.
daily. I mean, not your daily. Your yearly. Since I know you, you're like your yearly post about the sobriety and all that.
Yeah, New Year's Day um,
New
is
Year's
like
Day.
the it would be is always the anniversary. I didn't claim it this year because, yeah, to some people you can't take benzos at all for any reason.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't even
So
notice. I didn't even notice that this year.
yeah, so I didn't. I mean, in my mind, I mean, at the end of the day, the date doesn't really matter. It's how your life is going.
Yeah. Well,
And it's
either way, it's good to know that you're like, you know, at least for the most part, for like the last few years now have been, I guess, clean. That's definitely good.
yeah, it's been an experience. I mean, that's helped get me into music in the first place, and it keeps me, more or less on an even keel. So I mean, it was bad before. It was real bad before. So I mean, I'm lucky to be alive and lucky to see. I've come out with not a whole lot of permanent damage. I
Yeah.
mean, because I was in a bad shape for many years.
Yeah.
And,
So, all right. So I think that concludes this episode of the Tending Bike Show. Thank you to Young Seagull for this interview, and we will see you guys next time. You want to say something before we go?
uh, thanks to everybody who's listening. Keep supporting the Tending Bike Show. Look out for my new album on the way. Life ain't been the same since I featured on the shop.
Yes.
And go stream the shop again.
Yes.
That's an underrated classic.
Yes. All right, and also stream Ontario Trap Stars because it's out right now.
That too.
Yes. All right. Peace out, everyone.